This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 272.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have 6 WordCamps next week. We have WordCamp Bristol, May 17th through 19th, 3-day camp. WordCamp Bari, that's in Italy, May 17th and 18th. WordCamp Athens, May 18th and 19th. WordCamp Lisboa, May 18th and 19th also. WordCamp Nis, I'm not sure how to say it. It's not in France. It's not Nice, France. It's Nis. That's the way it's pronounced or spelled. May 18th and 19th. It's in Serbia. So that's where that is. I had to look it up. And WordCamp Detroit, which is a 1-day camp on May 18th. So check those out if you are in those areas. And for the record, I won't be at any of those. No surprises for anybody. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Main news item this week is that WordPress 5.2 came out. Code name was JACO, J-A-C-O, or JACO, named after bassist Jaco Pastorius. It's now available for download. Big news on that is the Scythe Health check, all the integrations there. I have not yet played much with it, so I don't have nothing to report on it, but I'm going to jump into it. Maybe I will do an update for that next week or in the weeks to follow. Probably next week. Well, we'll see. Anyway, okay, so that's pretty much the big news item. And there were like 300, and actually, let's see what it is real quick here. There were a lot of people who are contributors to this. 327 volunteer contributors. So check that out. Link in the show notes as well. WordPress.org/news. It's in the blog section, and I'll put a link in the show notes. All right, moving on to the segment, meat and potatoes of the show. Segment 2, more things you can do with HTAccess. So this week I want to share some things you can do with HTAccess. Again, yes, because I've learned more things in the 9 months from when I first shared the first 5 things you can do back at episode 233. And as these things I'm doing and using and learning day to day, week to week, running my little agency over there at Concierge WP. So most recently, so here's about 5 or 6 things I think I have. And most recently, I needed to do a redirect of a specific custom post type as the client was looking for something slightly out of the normal, where we wanted to have post behavior on a certain page not be clickable back to the post itself. Okay, if that makes sense. So in this case, it's a custom post type, which is called shop. And the content appears in a Beaver Builder post module on the archive page. But we wanted to direct it to a shop category page versus a single post page. So the only way to do that was to write a rewrite mod in HTAccess. And when I say we, it was partly me, but mostly somebody else who helped me. We'll get to that in a minute. So we dove into it. It wasn't that hard to figure out, and I'm not going to try to extract the code and define how the code works. I'm going to put it in the show notes if you want to go see it. You can, but it rewrites it, so anything with the tag shop in it, that nothing after it, it'll get rewritten it'll redirect it to the correct place. Okay, so that's what you can do. One of the things you can do is you can actually be very specific on how you want to address a certain type of URL, a word within the URL, to go to a certain place, like a 301 redirect. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, same client, same problem. Well, not really a problem, but same solution here. We forced HTTPS, and we removed the concept of having to type in www, because there's a lot of questions about that, about having it there, not there, having them can create a duplicate content issues with, the way it's searched and indexed. So we can now redirect all requests to a secure version of your site. And again, I will put a link in the show notes to how this works. And it's just a matter of, say, taking anything that's sent to HTTP and redirecting it to HTTPS and rewriting the URL that was there through a URI. Again, not difficult, but to read this in a audio format would make no sense. I'll link in the show notes as well. What else? A couple more here. Number 3 was default character set. Now, I haven't used this in a while, but you can go ahead and have the site load a default character set, UTF-8. It's not a big issue, probably doesn't affect most people, but it's kind of a good thing to throw in. So just in case you want to do something crazy down the line, you can say the character set would be UTF-8. Okay. As well as the next thing here is default language. In the same vein as a character set, setting the default language is a great way to let browsers and search engine spiders know the language your website's going to use, so it can then categorize. So default language, in this case, was English and -US, and I'll put a link in the show notes on that as well. And I've seen this actually happen a couple times recently, where I will go to a website that it thinks I'm coming in from somewhere else. I'm not using a VPN. I'm in the States. And even though it's an English site, it thinks, hey, you want to show this in French? And I don't understand why that's doing it. Maybe because of this. Maybe their default language on their server by accident is set to French. I don't know. I can't quite figure that out. So, and another one here in the same general area, you can specify a server time zone. So when generating your site maps and files using for published time and modified time in the schema, you can also set your time to be to where you want the server to be in the time zone. And this has been a hiccup lately. Actually, about a month ago, I think Kitchen Sink, this podcast was delayed because a cron job wasn't fired off and a post didn't go out. Excuse me. So anyway, the time zone. So I still have the time zone for Kitchen Sink as West Coast because it's just habit. It's where I created the server and I left it there. I could change it, but I don't want to have anything else trickle down to affect it. So in this case now, it's now set to, it's still there. But moving forward, new servers I set up are America, New York, if that's where I'm basing the server itself. So you can do that as well. So link in the show notes there too. And lastly, the last one I thought this was kind of cool. So if by chance you've been shaded by someone out there, maybe spreading false rumors, maybe you're doing a website for a politician, an honest politician at that, you can set up a rule so that anything that the site, someone else is trying to defame that person or yourself, anything that's trying to link to your site can redirect to an actual factual statement. Okay, this has not come up super recently, but it came up a few months back when I was working with someone running for re-election, and it really gives you some powerful and flexibility of the power of HTAccess. So you can actually have a rewrite condition and a rule that anything that tries to link to your site from their site, from this other place, can rewrite and send it to an actual factual page somewhere else, or even on your own site. Kind of cool. So I'll put a sample there as well in the show notes because that's what I'm going to say the whole episode. Everything in this case is kind of technical. This could be a good deep dive, and I know I haven't done those yet. I'm sorry about that, people. I really am. It's been a few more extra months than I thought it would be, but nonetheless. So again, just recapping these real quick, 5 or 6 of these. A custom post type can be rewritten based on a keyword in a URL, force HTTP and remove the www requirements, load the default character set, load the specified default language, and also have the time zone be what you want the server to be at exactly, so it doesn't have to change anything on the dashboard side of things. As well as you can also redirect certain keywords from a website or links to a website and have it kind of rewrite there. So that is it. Again, HTAccess, pretty powerful and lots of fun. I learned a lot from that this past week, and actually the last couple weeks. So there you go. All right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This is a plugin. It's called Site Health Tool Manager. William Earnhardt has written it. He is a core contributor. It's a friend of mine. He's the one who actually helped me with the HTAccess. So that's why I wanted to mention, give him a shout out. He wrote this because right when the 5.2 came out, WordPress 5.2, a lot of people don't like all the information that is presented about the website health. And if you're managing other people's sites and they log in, they see all those stuff. So this helps pick and choose what you want to show in the dashboard. So check it. It's free. Link in the show notes as well. And I think you'll enjoy that if you're using 5.2. Pretty cool plugin for the new 5.2 version of WordPress. All right, that is it this week. Nice and short episode. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com. Use the SpeakPipe functionality of the website. Support the show. You can become a Patreon. Sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, see you next week. Bye-bye.